It's not at all unusual for someone to see a news report. They've read something in the paper, they saw it on television, it's come across their news feed, and they're moved by that enough to offer a few comments and observations. And so that's what I'm going to do for a few quick minutes. My goodness, this custom, this practice, time honored, I wouldn't know how old it is. I do know young people today probably can't really fully grasp how popular, how important a fellow by the name of Will Rogers was 100 years ago. And he would come out on the vaudeville stage with his cowboy hat. He was a Cherokee from Oklahoma. He would twirl his lasso and he would say, you know, everything I know, I read it in the newspaper. And then he would, in a very clever and witty way, offer his observations. Well, I'm neither clever nor witty, but I saw a story the other day, and I think your reaction will be just the very same reaction that I had. The story had to do with Italy and excavations ongoing at Pompeii, that city that was destroyed with a volcanic eruption, Mount Vesuvius, in the year 79. And some of our Pikes Peak family, I know that you've been there and you've seen some of these sites. Well, here's what struck me. And the news report, the headline, "Two bodies, master and slave, unearthed in the ruins of a Pompeii villa." And there the news report went on to record how that two men have been discovered. One thought to be the master and the other thought to be his slave as they ran from the aftermath of the volcano and the descending ash. They were caught, they were covered, they were buried, and the reason why they're thinking that one was the master or the owner and the other was the servant and the slave, in examining the compressed skeleton of one, they determined that he had lived a life of hard manual labor, and the master not so much, and their clothing was different. But now then, it's this headline that grabbed my attention. Two men, their names long since forgotten, but two men discovered after these many, many years, and yet they lie together, covered over with the volcanic ash, the master and the slave. And you know, that just reminds us of an observation that, someone like Solomon could have made in the long ago. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 2, "The rich and the poor have this in common, the Lord is maker of them both." And then Ecclesiastes chapter 9 and verse 2, "All things come alike to all. One event happens to the righteous and to the wicked, to the good, the clean, and the unclean, to him who sacrifices and to him who does not sacrifice. As is the good, so is the sinner." I don't know who said it first. Maybe Will Rogers. You can't take it with you. No, I've got an idea that people have been saying that forever. Our Lord Jesus said that. You'll remember there was a rich man who said that I will tear down my barns, build bigger, build better. I will take my ease, eat, drink, and be merry. And our Lord's judgment was, "You fool, you'll die. And then who shall these things be?" There's coming a day, it's appointed unto men once to die, and after this, the judgment. And our graves may or may not be different. The marker, the monument that tells who we were and how long we lived and what we did, sooner or later that will fade or be forgotten. The master and the slave fell down together. They both lived and they both died. And that's the fate of every single one of us. And so the greatest question of all, what are we living for? And who do we live for? Let's determine that whatever might be said about us after we leave this life, to be a child of God and to give ourselves to His service, there's the whole duty of man.